Hey everybody, this is our KDA 2025-2026 orientation video. If you all have been through these videos before, this is a little bit updated. I am just trying to highlight any changes or things that are super important for you. So first, we're so excited to welcome you to the KDA community. Our goals today are to highlight the changes and improvements here at KDA, empower dancers and families with all the knowledge they need, and excite everyone for the season ahead. Our agenda overview: about us, contacts and detailed information, dress code basics, etiquette and conduct, tuition policies and due dates, performance opportunities, special events and opportunities, progression through levels, National Honor Society for Dance Arts chapter, and what now. About KDA. KDA serves over 200 dancers ages 18 months through adult. We're entering our 7th season. We offer classes in ballet, jazz, contemporary, tap, acro, hip hop, theater dance, and now also palm technique, improvisation, choreography, and composition, and leaps and turns. With experienced and knowledgeable faculty, newly renovated studio spaces, multiple performance opportunities, and training bonuses like master classes and workshops, we're sure you'll see what sets KDA apart. Our values and missions, this is one of our first little changes. Our mission statement is the same. This is an abbreviated one on the right. To provide excellent dance training for our dancers, inspire audiences through our artistry, and build trust with our families through our transparent and ethical business practices. On your left, this is a new thing that the teachers and I came up with during our faculty meeting. Our values are respect for fellow dancers as well as our instructors, openness and curiosity for ourselves, our bodies, our movement, and our learning styles, self-acceptance, both setting goals as well as honoring our current abilities, pride and gratitude for our studio and our time together, and then watching all through the lens of love, appreciating and celebrating every dancer in every class. Our team, that's me, Amanda Weitz-Keller. I teach youth division and ballet. Caroline Combs is back for tap. Brittany Hudson-Trent is here for contemporary, jazz, and theater dance. Lane Masters is taken on contemporary hip hop, theater dance, palm technique, and is our competition coach. Julia Huff is here for acrofusion and jazz. Susanna Southworth is here for acro. Lindsay Robinson Ellis is here for improv, and Rosa Hislop will be joining us for ballet. Communication. The key to having a successful dance community is communication. We welcome all questions all the time. We try to make all our information clear and easily accessible. Over on the right side are all the places that you can find all the detailed stuff you need. So first is the KDA handbook. You can find that in the KDA family Google folder that's linked below that. Weekly update emails, I usually strive to get those out on Friday afternoons. Band app, there's one for KDA generally, and then we usually make a separate one for each of our performances as the year goes on. Social media, of course, Facebook and Instagram is what we use. And then there's a position called Team Moms at each age group or level. And the team moms help with like on the ground kind of communication and handy hints and getting volunteer positions filled, all of that kind of nuts and bolts stuff. Dress code basics. This is a big one and one that I want everyone to be super aware of. Here's our dancer dress code. It's kind of broken up into female identifying first and then male identifying second. So a leotard of any color and a tee or a tank of any color. Tights, skin tone or pink, or tight fitting pants or male tights of any color. Appropriate shoes, so like tap shoes for tap class, ballet shoes for ballet class, so on and so forth. And then hair secured in a bun as your length permits, because sometimes your hair is too short for that, for all classes except hip hop and acro, since it is kind of hard to feel cool with your hair in a bun for hip hop, or to do some of the somersaults and rolls that you need to do in acro. You can see the full dress code, that sticky note on the side there. You can see the full dress code for every single class in the handbook. I just didn't want to spend this time talking to you guys and have to read every single detail for every single class, but there's a detailed breakdown for every class in there. So the question is, why is it so strict? And just some questions I've asked to our older dancers more recently is, would your soccer coach let you come to practice in your ballet shoes? No. Would your tennis coach let you play without a racket? No, of course not. For all these different sports, you know to come prepared because those sports demand that. So treat dance in the same way. We want to be able to do our job the best we can and learn the best we can, and we need to have the right equipment to be able to do that. The older dancers collaborated with me on this. They all agreed that this is fair and this is reasonable, and this is only for pre-pro levels, so level one and up. So all of our youth division classes, this does not apply to, so don't panic. So your first strike, if you are out of dress code, is you're going to go to the dancers lounge or the store, and you're going to fix what you can, and you get grace for any of your missing items. So if you come to tap class and the first time you're not in dress code, Miss Caroline will say, hey, okay, go get your hair up, go make sure you have your leotard and tights on and put your warm-ups on over it, and go see if you can find some tap shoes. And if you can't, that's okay, come back, we're good for today. For strike two, you can come into class, but you're going to observe and how it's applicable for whatever style it is and whatever age you are. You're going to take notes, write corrections, do a worksheet during class. So you are still engaged in the class, but you can't dance with us. Strike three is you are not allowed to observe and you are not allowed to participate. And I have the fun job of calling your grown up. So we're hoping that having like these pretty significant ramifications are going to help all of our dancers be more prepared. Something that I think happens more than our guardians and families realize is that our dancers maybe aren't dressing appropriately in class and then telling mom or dad or grandma or whoever it is that they are, and then telling their teachers that they don't have their stuff. And so I think there's a little disconnect there. And so I think this is going to like really clarify that communication. But by the same token, the most important thing is to get dancers dancing. If being out of dress code is a reflection of a need, a lack of funds for shoes or leotards or tights, or you don't have the time to go to Lexington or Louisville and get those things new, tell us. Let's fix it. That's not a hurdle that we have to worry about. We can fix that. If being out of dress code is a reflection of modesty concerns or body image, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we can still have you be respectful to the dress code and be dressed appropriately and safely for class, but still feel good in your body. That is something that I am all about. And then the last one is if being out of dress code is a reflection of time management or scheduling, let's find a solution. Let's see what we can do to make sure that we're respecting the other dancers that are making this a priority and then also isn't keeping you out of class consistently. So how can we make this time management work better? What can we do to facilitate this? So the dress code, we don't want it to be a hurdle to learning, but we do want there to be consequences so that we're all on the same page and we're all showing the respect we want to the studio, to the other dancers, to what we're trying to do here. On to etiquette and conduct for dancers first. On the left, those are all from our handbook. Being early is on time, being on time is late, and being late is unacceptable. One of the things I have noticed as a dance teacher for so many years is that if we build in 10 or 15 minutes of dancers being early for class, they can use that time to be totally ready for class. They get their hair up, they get their shoes on, they're totally ready for the day. And then they also have time to socialize. And then that social aspect of dance isn't lost, but also class isn't disrupted by it. The studio is for dancing, not for talking, eating, running, swinging, etc. There are special days where we do fun stuff, quote unquote, fun stuff. Dancing is fun. Um, but where we do special events, like for the Back to Dance Bash or for a birthday party, if somebody rents out the studio, or sometimes we'll play like games in class. It's like a special treat occasionally. So sometimes those things happen, but for the majority of the time, the studio is for dancing. Dancers follow the rules out of respect, and then perfection is the goal, but mistakes are part of the journey. Now, over on the right is something new we're integrating. In each class, we now have a gratitude and movement practice, a time at either the start or the finish of the class, depending on the class flow, that we say something we are thankful for with an accompanying movement. And that's something, regardless of style or age, we were trying to find something that all of our dancers and dance teachers could have in common as a studio. And we decided we were going to try gratitude. Is etiquette and conduct, but for families, this is the other side of it. First of all, we are all here to support the learning environment and every dancer in it. We've never had an issue with that. That's just a handy reminder. Um, Two is a big one. The hallway between A and B and outside of Studio C is for all the families to relax and be comfortable while their dancers are in class. So we've redone the seating. The flood was terrible, but it really allowed us to re-envision the space and make it more comfortable and more accessible for families because sometimes you are here for a long time. Under the stairs downstairs, the KDA Kids area is for siblings and friends to stay happy and engaged while dancers are learning. Something that we've run into is that there just wasn't a good space for kids to be kids. And so we built that in to our new design. And that's where kids can just play and just be free. And then it's not interrupting classes in the studios. It's not getting in the way of adults that maybe are trying to work or rest or just be while they're waiting for their dancer. So we're kind of separating that as best we can. And then this is a big one. No grown-ups need to accompany dancers into classes except for special needs as dancers request or require, and me and my grown-up class, which that's right in the title. We've run into some issues with some dancers maybe started needing a grown-up to come in with them for tiny twirlers or beginning dance, and then they kind of wean themselves off of that. And sometimes that can be a hard transition for the grown-ups as well as the kids. So there are going to be times that like we're having a little separation anxiety and we need mommy to walk us in or daddy to walk us in. But for the most part, we're going to really keep the studios just for dancers and then that nice waiting area and kids area for all of our families. It's also a good way to protect our floors. We're being super extra protective of our floors because they are very, very expensive and brand new. They were $43,000. And so we want to keep them in pristine shape. And so the fewer people in street shoes are just coming and going and getting like traffic flow on them, the better. So over on the other side, that little sticky note, making the space serve our clientele has been a priority. So if you see another way to let us improve, let us know. We can do better. On to tuition policies. This is very brief. This is in much, much, much more detail in the handbook. That's what that sticky note is telling you. So the only things that you all ever have to pay for, well, the only thing, period, that you have to pay for if you're a dancer is monthly tuition. And that's automatically on the first of every month. That can be changed. Then the other three, these are all technically optional, but I want you to have these in your planners for your financial planning for the year. So September 6th, which is a Saturday, is the Dancer versus Cancer participation fee. And we're going to talk about that in more detail. October 18th is a Saturday. That's the Nutcracker participation fee. And then January 24th, which is also a Saturday, and that's the Spring Performance participation fee. So these are our three performances for the year. First one is Dancer versus Cancer. That is again due September 6th. It's $40 across the board. This is a very low-key performance. This performance is 100% to charity, so we keep all of our ceiling costs down. So we do them in class. All the dances are brief. They are fun. We don't have big costumes. We don't have big set pieces. It's a much smaller scale performance, and it's one night only. You have one dress rehearsal, that's October 1st, and one performance, which is also October 1st. We come in, we run it, we do it, we're done. So that's a very low pressure performance. The next one in the middle, that's our biggest chunk because it's our most involved performance, the Nutcracker. Participation fees are due October 18th. It lists those prices down there. Those are a little bit more than the ones in the spring that we're going to talk about because these rehearsals take place outside of class time. So Saturdays, October 25th through December 6th, minus November 29th, which is the week of Thanksgiving. We do this for 2 weekends. So December 11th is our Cast A dress rehearsal, and December 18th, the following week, is our Cast B dress rehearsal. And then our mandatory performances for Cast A, it's December 12th and 13th. And Cast B is December 19th and 20th. You will get much more information closer to this performance, and also the team moms can help walk you through what that looks like. Then our last performance is the 100 Acre Wood. That participation fee is January 24th. The cost is 60 or for your initial, and then 40 for each additional, and then pre-pro 70 and 50. So that first number is if you take one class, or the first one if you take multiple, and then every additional is an additional whatever that other half of the slash is. So if you were in ballet 2 and you took ballet 2 and jazz 1, 2 and acro, then you would pay 60 for your first class and then 40 for the next two. So that would be 140 total. Mandatory dress rehearsals, we don't know the breakdown yet. Will be April 21st through 23rd. There are two casts for this. We'll figure out how that shakes out. And then mandatory performances will be April 24th and 25th. Same thing. We are not 100% sure. That's pretty far in the future. So we'll have that whole breakdown for you well before your participation fee. So in January, you'll have all the information for all the things. Performance policies, 80% attendance is required for our dancers. This is just listing how many absences you can have per your class. Dancer versus Cancer is easy. You can have one absence across the board because we don't have long to prepare for that one. The next one is just the ballet classes and then your Saturday rehearsals, since that is a ballet focused performance. And then 100 Acre Wood has lists for everybody. If you fall below that 80%, it's okay. It's all fixable. We can do private lessons. We can make sure that we make it up however we need to. But 80% is what we're going for. And also, your instructors are required to be here 80% of the time as well. Any additional opportunities besides our three big in the Grand Theater performances, we do have lots of things come up. So first, we are going to try a competition team that's only levels 4 and up, only solos, duos, trios. We're going to test the waters. Mix Lane is in charge of that, and they're going to see kind of how it goes. A lot of our dancers have expressed interest, and we want to support our dancers for experimenting in the dance world however they want to. So we're going to see how that works and how it fits. And I'm very grateful Lane can take that on since as the director, I'm in charge of all the performances and kind of the day-to-day stuff. Competition team wasn't something that I could take on and put onto my plate, but Lane was really excited and wanted to add that to theirs. And so that's giving our kids an opportunity. It's great. On September 4th, that's a Thursday, we're going to have Nick Anthony, who is a professional dancer based out of LA and originally from Eastern Kentucky. He is going to come in, probably do some hip hop and contemporary classes for our pre-pro levels 1 through 7, but also may do a little pop-up class for our youth division as well. September 19th through 21st is the Teddy Ted Home Workshop. He is a dancer. You might have seen him on So You Think You Can Dance. He is based in New York City. And he is coming in to do a choreography workshop. And the goal of that workshop for our dancers that are invited to participate is to create something for Dancer versus Cancer and have it on the stage, which is a cool opportunity. Thriller, ages 10 plus, no experience necessary. That is the Thriller Parade downtown on October 25th. We do rehearsals here with Miss Brittany. Signups are live if you're watching this in real time. And those rehearsals begin September 12th on a Friday, and you can join us for that. Our Just Say Yes performance, that's all to be determined. This is a partnership with Just Say Yes and the providers of the Yes card. That is also at the Grand Theater on November 4th, and we will see what group is going to go this year. It kind of varies year to year. And then there's so many more to come. This is only the big things for this first semester, and so much more comes up outside of this. So progression through levels. Every dancer progresses at their own individual and perfect rate. If you have a question or your dancer has a question, that's what the faculty is for. You can always, always ask. So this year, all of us teachers are really working on revamping, tweaking, improving the curricula that we share. So then we are being very clear about what every level needs to have to progress and where our dancers need to improve. And that's going to help all of our dancers set better realistic goals. And then the goals are going to turn into progress. So it's a really cool season of renewal and restarting a lot of things, which is great. I try to think of some of the big milestones that might require some extra support from faculty that we try to be mindful of. Transitioning from youth division to pre-professional division is a big one. That happens around age 8 when you stop with combination classes and you transition into every class as its own 1 hour chunk of time and you have multiple teachers. It's a big transition. So you might need extra support there. The point shoe screening process in ballet 3, so roughly ages 10 to 13, depends on the kid. Usually it's like 11 and 12 is the majority. but what that looks like, how we can support your dancer through that process, and then also help educate you parents about point shoes and how important they are and how strong we have to be. And then just leveling up generally. All of our pre-pro classes every year, we do evaluations and we figure out what the levels for the next season are going to look like. And so often we need a lot of support, dancers and parents during that time to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're all working to the same goal, we're all understanding what's going on. This is a big one. This is brand new this year. I'm super excited. It's the National Honor Society for Dance Arts. Um, this is a part of the National Dance Educators Organization that I am a member of. This is applicable to our students in grades 9 through 12, so our high schoolers, and you'll be invited to apply if you fall into that age category. Um, and this national rubric is a point system. And if you qualify, then we're going to have two induction dates. And the folks that qualify have opportunities because of this. So the mission is to recognize outstanding artistic merit, leadership, and academic achievement in students studying dance in public and private schools, in K-12 education, dance studios, cultural community centers, performing arts organizations, and post-secondary education. That also includes homeschoolers. That was one of our questions at orientation. It does apply for homeschoolers. To foster an appreciation for dance as a true art form and one worthy of recognition and prestige. Some student benefits: recognition of their artistic merit, academic achievement, and leadership, which is great because a lot of these kids spend a lot of their time here. Certificates at each level of induction if we choose to add a middle school, or if they go to college and their college is affiliated, they can have multiple levels of this. Certificates at each level of induction, opportunity to receive the gold honor pin and wear the blue and white honor cord and or medallion at graduation. Mentorship from the chapter sponsor, who's me, and networking with peers. Leadership and development opportunities within their NHSDA chapter, as they can assist the chapter sponsor with chapter administration, record keeping, fundraising, and event planning. And that is up to the kids how much of a club they want to make this. There's also some scholarship opportunities. So we're going to make sure that our dancers that are applicable, the juniors and seniors, are inducted in time to be able to apply for those scholarships that are open to just the kiddos in the Honor Society. Oh, we're almost done. Any questions? We love questions. Part of having a successful studio and a growing healthy dancers is answering questions. And I always like to say that my parents didn't even dance at their wedding. I was such a surprise as a dancer. So I always had the parents that didn't understand stuff and had to ask all the questions. So if you're ever shy about asking a question from me, don't be, because my parents had to do it too, and you are not alone. So basically, if it's movement, class structure, other daily questions that are coming up in class for you, ask your instructor for help. They're the expert in their class. They know what's going on in that class and can help you with that. For bigger picture questions, questions about tuition and finances, issues that are interfering with class or your success in class, scheduling stuff, performance stuff, ask me. That's my job. Email is usually the best way to reach any of us just because most of our staff work multiple jobs. I have a child and a puppy at home, so sometimes I am slow to answer the phone. Email is great because there's a record of it and we can see it. So Amanda at kydanceacademy.com is the first one, and I can direct your email to other staff members, or usually answer it myself. And then again, just to reiterate, there's much more information in the handbook. I just didn't want to have to talk to you for like an hour and a half. And that's it. Thank you. And don't be shy about questions. You're here to help. And I'm excited for this year. I'm so glad you're here with us.